Aloha, and welcome to Betty's Real Estate Corner, brought to you by Sakamoto Properties, Coldwell Banker, and Coldwell Banker Sakamoto Properties. Another day here in Maui, glorious. If anybody was up early enough to watch the moon set, it was spectacular today. You just don't see it that way that often. There'll be clouds, there'll be something, but today, the most spectacular moon set in the world. Today in the studio, we have Yumi Kuwana, who's a really good friend of ours. Her and her husband run a major business, which she can tell us a little bit about, but here we really wanted to talk about something that she's been involved with for over 10 years, Global Citizens Initiative. And it's quite a story about young people coming together. Usually they're going to be at Harvard Business School, or Harvard campus, the regular campus, sorry. So we're going to tell you a little bit about that, and how also Yumi's been talking to students at Lahaina Luna High School with the possibility of having one of them come to the Global Citizens Initiative as a junior in high school or sophomore. And we're really excited about that prospect. So Yumi, tell us a tiny bit about Global Citizens and how it started.
Thank you, Betty. Thank you so much for having me here today on the radio show. It's really an honor. So, first of all, before I even start, I just wanted to send my prayers and thoughts for the people in Ukraine.
Oh, yes.
I know it's not easy right now, and so our thoughts are with you all. And that leads me to Global Citizens Initiative. It's a 501c nonprofit based in Connecticut, but really approaches the world. Our mission is to engage, educate, and empower citizens, youth from all sectors of society and all walks of life to be lifelong leaders of positive change. And the way I started this really goes back to my childhood. It's really where I was born in the United States, in Boston, Massachusetts, grew up in Japan and moved there when I was 8. And when I first moved there, because I look Japanese, I am Japanese, but yet I didn't act or read or write Japanese as a native level. I got bullied for a couple of years. And then over the years, I gradually assimilated, or, was accepted by all, or hopefully the community. And then again in junior high school, we had English as a second language, and I spoke English better than the English teachers, so I got bullied again. So it was a hard childhood, and that pain really inspired me to start this organization called Global Citizens Initiative. If you want to go to the website, it's www.globalci.org.
One of the things I remember when you were first starting it, and of course what I remember could be totally different than what was important, but what I thought was amazing early on was one of the early meetings, I'll call it a meeting, that you had the students at. There was going to be a lot of conversation about peace, what it would take to have global peace, so that this, let's say, 40 young people were going to be brought together from around the world, all walks of life. And you told me once about a young man who I think was from Africa. That was quite a story, and I think it'd be worth hearing that one for a minute. But I still think what I thought of so much would be, what a great opportunity for anybody at kind of a national, international level to be able to express what they think would help peace. So I think what you did has been monumental, and it keeps continuing, so it's great.
Well, we're still small scale, so over the years, hopefully we can even increase our impact so that we can reach more children from around, or youth, high school students from around the world. But yes, the objective really is to agree to disagree, get to know one another, and really form friendship. It kickstarts with a 9-day summit, which is basically a conference. And this year we're hosting it at St. Andrews University in Scotland. We'll have students from all over the world, and over the 9 days, it's breaking down barriers, building up trust, forming different groups so they can work on local service projects, which are global pressing issues and how to solve them locally. and we introduce them to the framework, the human-centric framework called design thinking. We also use the Harkness pedagogy, which is a student-centric discussion-based learning pedagogy. And we also really emphasize ethics and the human connectivity. And through this, everybody becomes family. For many, they say it's transformative, which we're just so rewarding to see. And over time, we've had, students from Afghanistan, Mongolia, Syria, various parts of Africa, including South Africa, Kenya, Ethiopia,
and now Lahaina.
Yes.
Maybe. We're pretty sure.
Absolutely.
We're getting
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, part of the first one, or the early on, and I think this, no matter what's happening in the world, you know, for people to come together, was the one that you had mentioned to me. And it really doesn't matter where the student came from. But the point was that they were, I'm going to say, I envision, they were standing outside looking toward the other students that they were going to be with, feeling, oh, I'll never fit into this. I can't do this. This is going to be awful. And Yumi took one look at him, and again, she may tell this different, but her point was, no, you hold your shoulders up, you know, put your head up and walk in there. And when you walk in there, you'll know you're as good as anybody in there. And she said he did. He threw his shoulders back, stuck his chest out, and walked in. And the rest was history, because he made monumental changes in his life.
Absolutely. That's David. It really brings me a smile and really warms my heart. He came from the southern Los Angeles area, and he was nominated by his teacher. He had never been out of his Los Angeles area community. He's never been on an airplane. He's never really had Chinese food. And he lives close to where there's a lot of homeless people. So his local service project was to empower homeless people with a shower. He created a mobile shower that people in his community could use, and his project won the seed money from GCI, which was very exciting, and that enabled him to gain the confidence that I could go outside of the California area and make a difference. So he got accepted to all the universities, Berkeley, UCLA, and et cetera, but he ended up going to Georgetown University.
Wow.
And he had a mentor during our Global Citizens Fellowship who was Japanese. So that inspired him, and he started to learn Japanese, and it was his favorite class at Georgetown. So then he actually took a junior abroad and went to Asia. He went to Hong Kong, Japan, and China, and then COVID hit, so he had to come back early. But now he has graduated from Georgetown University. He's back in Los Angeles, and he works to represent janitors in a labor union, and he wants to go to law school so that he could be protective to various people that don't have a voice.
Wow. So, I mean, again, this is something that, I mean, hopefully we do have someone this year from Lahaina Luna, and we're pretty close to that decision, I believe. So we'll know more by the next show. We obviously are drifting a little off the real estate idea, but I just felt like Yumi and everything going on in the world today, if we could all just take a moment and think about it, and what she's been doing, with these young people does change the world. And sometimes I've been saying for a long time, let's just be kind to one another. Let's start at home. Let's start in our own houses. Be kind. Don't be snarky. I mean, let's all take it. And these young people have now learned to take it to a different level and to talk about world peace.
Yes, we basically teach them, we provide them with the resources, mindset, and tools to become change agents, and we empower each and every one of our students that attend. Lahaina Luna High School will be amazing if we have a student, and we've had students from Maui, from Hawaii, but on the different islands, and we really need a voice from Maui. That would be really special. I think to have representation from different types of cultures, especially Hawaii, where it's really a gateway to Asia, and it's a
melting pot.
It's a melting pot. It's a multicultural, beautiful, beautiful state.
Speaking quickly of Maui, we have Dr. Norm Eston on the phone, and I think he's going to give us a little bit of an update on what's going on with the coronavirus. Even though it's almost over, we're hoping. Are we on here, Norm?
We are.
Whoa, okay. Good afternoon.
Aloha.
Good afternoon. Aloha.
Well, I'm going to be very brief, and I'm going to start out with one sentence and end with the same sentence. And that is that we've got a lot of claims that we're finished with this coronavirus pandemic. But I can tell you the coronavirus is nowhere finished with us. So let me explain what that means. Here in the United States, Hawaii and Maui, we're relaxing all the restrictions. Next week, we're going to stop indoor masking here in Hawaii. Next month, the middle of the month, we're going to stop the mask mandate on airplanes. And so even though we still have a lot of people who are getting sick with the mild Omicron version of the coronavirus, we're not taking it as a giant public health menace right now in this country. Now, that is in distinction to a lot of other places in the world. For instance, in China, we now have 2 cities of 17 million. That's quite a large number, 17 million, that are basically locked down because of the coronavirus, the new variant that everybody's heard of, the Omicron, in particular the BA.2. And the reason they're having trouble is that the vaccine that they used, the 2 of them they had in China, were not particularly effective. So they've had breakthroughs through both the virus vaccines, and so they're locking down the cities. They're very sick. The same thing in Hong Kong. You can't get into or get out of Hong Kong, and there's quarantine if you try to go in, and it's probably going to be like that for a while. We see a couple of isolated spots in Europe that are having outbreaks. So it's a different picture around the world here, and this is normal for virus behavior. There's going to be variants that are going to evolve at different times in response to the vaccines. They're going to evolve in different parts of the world. And the spread is going to be different in Europe, in China, and here. So we're sort of over it here, but I'm going to predict, and I wrote a couple of articles, that Omicron was, in fact, the beginning of the end. And it may be, but we've got a couple of little surges coming. We're going to have a surge in April and May here. We're always around 3 to 4 weeks behind Europe. And we'll probably get a surge of another variant in the fall. Is that going to change our lifestyle? Probably not. What we should have to do, even though it's not required, is be careful around anybody who's ill. So if you see people sniffling or coughing, make sure you stay away, keep your distance. Probably wear a mask anyway, voluntarily, indoors, around groups, and certainly on public transportation. Keeping surfaces clean and washing hands is good in general anyway, but of course this is an airborne virus, so you're more worried about coming in close contact. And that's pretty much what we're going to expect. I don't see there's going to be any major public health changes here, either in Maui, Hawaii, or the United States going forward, and we're certainly not going to be locking down or doing anything like that again. Good.
So then we're going to feel pretty good about that. We're our time is going out quickly, so we're hoping to at least be able to say right now that you're feeling optimistic, and we'll go on listening to Yumi. If you've got the radio on, she's got some really great things she's talking about, with her Global Citizens Initiative. So we're going to finish up the show with that. Hopefully we'll be seeing you later today, Norm. Oh, tomorrow.
Fantastic.
Tomorrow. Okay.
Yes, thanks for the opportunity to fill everybody in. Aloha.
Thank you. Aloha.
Aloha.
So Yumi, now this kind of changes us because we got off the... Norm has checked in with us on a lot of shows, and it's really helped the people of Maui a lot, especially at times when they were just trying to locate a place for testing or to understand what they should do if they had symptoms, et cetera. But I think right now we're talking world peace and
Absolutely.
changes that
Change
are
in the
going to
world.
be a change in the world. And we already have had a difficult year, 3 years almost, of changing. But so what is projected for the upcoming group of kids in Scotland?
Well, we're really excited. We're right in the middle of getting all the offer letters out, but we have still opportunities for a few spots. And so I'm hopeful that we'll get some students apply from Lahaina Luna High School. And obviously anybody is allowed to apply. So as long as you're a 9th grader, 10th grader, or 11th grader in high school, and you have the desire to change the world, you're more than welcome to apply. We do have limited financial aid for those who are not able to meet the financial needs, so that's going to be great too.
How would they apply? Would they use your website?
Yes, you would just go to www.globalci.org, and there is a fellowship section or menu on the menu, and you just go there and they'll guide you how to apply. So we're really excited for the Scotland program, which is called a summit.
So I was going to say, though, let's say it one more time. Global Citizens,
Oh, Global CI.
Global CI, which would stand for Global Citizens Initiative.
Yes.
So globalci.org.
.org.
Okay. I know that that's hard sometimes when you're trying to write something down. So global, obviously pretty simple, ci.org, O-R-G.
Yes, that's
Perfect.
right. That's
okay.
right.
And then it'll follow the path.
Yes, then you click on the fellowship section and you have all the details there. But once you arrive, we have this beautiful program that's awaiting you. It will just start out by welcoming you, and there's going to be 35 other people just like you from.
And you stay in the dorms.
Yes, everybody will be staying at the dorms. We'll be all eating together and just getting to know one another to become family.
And you'll be there.
Yes, I'll be there too.
We will be there.
For sure.
That's an important part of this.
And there's activities in the afternoon. The mornings are dedicated to more academic sessions where they'll be led by Phillips Exeter Academy teachers to have discussions on, this year is all about sustainability. Sustainability can relate to, how to sustain the environment, but also how to sustain even your personal health. And there's so many different types of sustainability, but that's the theme. So a fun part is that first day, it's all about, and you'll actually get a mentor. One-on-one mentorship is matched up so that you'll have a mentor throughout the 9-month fellowship program. You'll also have a teaching assistant during the summit. So
but you're only there 9 days, but then you're saying that for the following 9 months after that, you'll have this person available so that you can finish up a project that you'll be working on as part of this transition in your life. And then you'll go from there to, having that as part of your psyche for the rest of your life.
Well, I think it's really done incredible things. First of all, it's allowed students to gain the confidence that they too can change the world, and now they have the tools and resources and mindset to do so. Secondly, they're actually impacting their home community. So one student, for example, was very much into saving the planet, being environmentally conscious. And so what he did was he wanted to collaborate with a nonprofit in the area in Connecticut and put solar energy panels on the school so that they could save some electricity. And that's what they did. Another one, another student wanted to be eco-friendly, so he created these buckets for batteries or electronic goods so that it won't just be thrown away, but into a special bucket so that they could recycle or throw away in an appropriate manner.
That's very important here in Maui especially, because a lot of things you try to do your best to recycle, but a lot of things don't leave the island, so that it's another difficult thing actually getting things off the island.
Yes.
So that there was a point where people were doing their best to recycle, but then learning that a lot of things were ending up in the trash anyway. So it really is a difficult one. So maybe whoever comes from Maui will be able to have that as part of their thoughts too.
Absolutely. No, and, it's broad. It doesn't have to be about sustainability in terms of the planet, saving the planet. It can be other things. For example, there was one student that did it on their project on supporting the close to blind young people. And she created a platform where they used their hands and made pottery out of various, through clay. And then she sold that so that, just for a minimal amount, like $10 or $1 even. And then they would have a community and collaborate together. So it was just a support network for, handicapped through their eyes. So it can really be as narrow as you want or as large as you want. I
think it starts there. It's kind of, we were talking just driving over here about peace and how especially young people could have an idea that could go forever and it could change the world, and that we should all be listening, whether it's just about your family, just about a school, just about anything. I think if we all stop and come up with the ideas that we have, or maybe you pass them on through something, and most people are going to say to you it's ridiculous, but whatever it is, if it's your thought, I think that it's nice to be heard, and you're letting young people be heard.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the most important things, to be heard and to know that you too can make a difference. But also, instead of, for example, thinking about Afghanistan and the Taliban, you start to think Afghanistan and my two friends, Jawed and Aziza. So that too makes a difference in terms of just how the press or how the media portrays things versus having an actual friend. Having an actual friend in the Ukraine or even Russia or, all over the world, I think can make a difference. So really learning about their perspective, I think, makes a huge difference.
We're right now at the 2-minute warning, believe it or not, but I think that it is interesting, everything you're saying, because I think we do all have to do our best to make a difference. And I keep saying things like this that are kind of a little off to some people, but let's all remember, with every day of our life, if you could help somebody, you might see a woman with 2 kids trying to load her groceries into the car. Stop and help her, or anything like that. Somebody, it's happening everywhere around you today, and anything we do with kindness and love and caring, I think, changes the world.
Absolutely.
And so let's all try to do that today.
Yes.
Let's do something for someone.
That sounds great, Betty. I think it's a rippling effect.
I think it is too. We'll have Danny Couch coming back on in a minute, who kind of sings us out and sings us in. And that's been one of my favorites. But when you come down to that song, I Love Hawaii, it's the greatest thing in the world, being able to be here. And we all grew up differently. I grew up in Buffalo, New York, the home of the Irish. So I am wearing the green today. And here's Danny, so let's kind of have our little moment again with Danny Couch. And let's love Hawaii and love everywhere in the world. Love the Ukraine. Love to everybody.
Aloha.
Aloha.